May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are very wisely tuned to May the Best Brand Win here on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, and a St. Louis Cardinals fan who is still coming to grips with the fact that the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. No, it's all good. It's all good. All good for the Cubs. And, of course, with me on the air today is my partner in technology, making it all work from just outside Miramar Air Force Base in San Diego, California, is Paul B.
How's it going? Good.
How's your Friday treating you?
Pretty good. So interesting to see whether the winning and losing segment for you is going to be winning or losing. I guess it depends on how you look at it.
It always depends on that. You know, I got to say that was quite a game seven. It was quite a series. It was quite a series. And you know, baseball has a tendency to either be like really good or it's like watching paint dry. You know, unless you're there live, and then it has a little more energy. But anyway, very cool. And I am going to be bringing up the Cubs later in the show in the winning and losing. But will it be winning or losing? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'll make it. I'll decide. If you listeners out there in Radioland have any questions for me, you can always catch me at scott@robertsoncom.com. Robertson.com is my public relations firm. I work with all kinds of different companies, help them guide them through the vicious mazes that makes up marketing and communications these days. And I will answer anything that you send me right on the show, as long as it's relevant to marketing and communications. If you're asking me about, like one person sent me an email and was asking me about Elon Musk's take on Mars, and I can comment on the marketing side of it, like that kind of thing. But it's like I'm not an expert on colonizing Mars, and I think there are a few people who are. Elon Musk probably is. He certainly has some pretty bold plans. I was sort of commenting on the press conference side of it, not like would that stuff work scientifically. I am not a scientist, just so you know. I am a marketing professional. But anyway, thanks. I thank that person for the email anyway. But if you send me an email, make it about marketing and communications. I'll be in there, or about playing the bass in like all kinds of dive bars in Southern California, and I'm pretty good at that too. And I can answer about that. You can always find my posts, client news clips, and other tidbits and stuff that I have going on at the Robertson.com Facebook page. Reach out, like that page. It's pretty good. I have a lot of stuff that I cover on the show, so it's a good preview as to what's coming up for that week. Or you can catch me on Twitter, always at Robertson.com. My goal there is to just really entertain people like you, and also to give you some tips too, things like that. So today's episode, which is episode 33, wow, grow up so fast, on May the Best Brand Win, we are talking about storytelling. And I think I've talked around storytelling a bit, but I haven't really delved into it very much. And I think it's one of the more interesting terms, in marketing today. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a young and good-hearted marketer who wanted people to notice the things that his or her client or the organizations for which they were working was promoting. They tried everything: ads, promotions, emails, texts, even twirling those signs on the sidewalk outside. Yeah, don't do that. But our hero realized that the marketing was lacking something very powerful. So powerful that it honestly should be guarded by a dragon and a lake of fire. But it's there in front of us all the time, kind of like magic. Our hero needed to find and unleash the magical power of story. Will he or she discover it in time before all credibility and trust has been destroyed by all that other marketing stuff? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to discuss how to set loose the power, the magical power of storytelling in marketing. And we're also going to talk about who's winning and losing. and then we're all going to take a nice nap. No, I'm just kidding. That would be nice, though. That'd be great, honestly. They should build that into the workday, I think, honestly. But let's dig into storytelling, because I do think it is misunderstood quite a bit. It is used in a lot of different. There's a lot of different context around storytelling, but I'll kind of give you my take on where I think it's powerful and what it is. But basically, what is it? Just so we're all on the same page, vocabulary-wise, it is defined as the social and cultural activity of sharing stories, often with improvisation, theatrics, or embellishment. Stories or narratives have been shared in every culture as a means of entertainment, education, cultural preservation, and instilling moral values. Pretty much since the beginning of time, to be honest. Now, from a marketing perspective, that's storytelling in general. From a marketing perspective, what we like about storytelling is that we are engaging people. We are hooking them. We are motivating them. We are persuading them. We are using story to do what all marketing is supposed to do, which is move people, towards the behavior that your company wants them to execute. And I think one of the reasons that storytelling works so well is because in every culture is just, you have to go back to, psychology and kind of how our brains work. And I'm going to dig into this in greater detail. But simply put, we just learn better with storytelling. Whenever I give a presentation, I bring my guitar and I start with a song usually. And people say, "Oh, that's kind of fun. That's nice that you do that and everything." Nice has nothing to do with it. It's cognitive research based, and the research says, not spoiler alert, that people learn better when their brains have been activated by a musical experience firsthand. So, I don't do it to show off. I don't do it to. I don't do it for any other reason except for this one thing. People simply learn better. They retain more. They put down their walls that they're going to have to learning, and I get their attention in ways that other speakers can't. Music can do that in ways that other things can't. And so that's why I use it, right? Storytelling, the same kind of thing. You use it because you're able to engage at a deeper level. You're able to engage at a much deeper level, and we're going to discuss some of that too. So what are the elements of a really good story? Well, we've always got a main character. My daughter and I, we recently just rewatched all the Star Wars movies. Fantastic series of movies. Obviously, you have your first trilogy, then you have your prequels, which, people will have varying opinions on, which sort of told that pre-story. And now with J.J. Abrams, you have kind of what happened after that block of movies happened. But in every one of these story arcs, there are main characters. And the main character usually experiences some sort of conflict that forces them out of their comfort zone. Everything starts with everybody's happy and here's life and everything, and and then a conflict occurs of some kind that forces them out of their comfort zone and forces them into action. And then there's multiple conflicts that happen throughout that arc's various and the hero's not always successful in the first act. And the hero's not always successful in the second act. Sometimes it's Act 3 before the hero is successful. Sort of that Rocky story, that Rocky storyline. But there's always a resolution. The third piece to our story. There's always a resolution that's really, really important. A catharsis, if you will. And the fourth thing is an ending. How did this thing end up? Now, all of that stuff is really important to have. There are benefits of using storytelling in marketing, and here are a few benefits that you might want to think about. And there's lots, obviously, but here are just a few. You can convey brand personality very easily with story. You can you can come to life with your brand story a little bit more, and I'll explain that a little bit later as well. The second thing is you can really your brand can star as the hero in your story. I think we talked a couple weeks ago in the winning and losing segment about Jeep and how Jeep uses the power of story very, very well, and their current campaign for the 75th anniversary of the brand is exceptionally well done because it relies on the storytelling ability of the customers, right? And the customers make Jeep the hero of the story. All of Apple's marketing, their entire tagline their entire campaign is designed around their products being the hero to help you do something just incredible. I just noticed in a bunch of music ads in some music magazines that Zoom is employing sort of a similar thing. They basically were like, we didn't change the world with this creativity, but some of our users did using our products. And the idea is, they're great. Let's celebrate them. Yay for them. However, the real yay is for us because they honestly would still be living in their mom's basement, and if it wasn't for us, that kind of thing. And that's like the subtle marketing message that you want to kind of have in there. But things like Jeep, and I encourage you to take a look at their social feed, particularly during this 75th anniversary campaign, is really, really good because it shows all the different ways that people are using Jeep. That Jeep plays a huge role in them getting out and they're clever about, their brand has always been about exploration and exploring the outdoors in particular and exploring that kind of thing. And obviously that ties into their key value proposition, which is the fact that, hey, this vehicle can literally go anywhere. And they kind of show that and they show why that's important. And sometimes their product is literally the hero and literally saving people's lives and literally, helping them get to people, helping emergency personnel get to people who otherwise they wouldn't be able to reach. I think that's really good brand storytelling when you're able to do that kind of thing. And as I mentioned, there are a few folks in the music products industry, close to home that are employing some similar stuff, which is great. Because that's the stuff that we like, as I've always talked about. We live in a society that is, we're pretty into ourselves. I mean, we're pretty much into ourselves there. So if you can make it about us, if you can make it about those people out there and take yourself out of it, you're always going to be in a little bit better position. The third benefit of story is that you can really hit that emotion button. When we talk about branding, and we talk about why it's so important to understand what your emotional brand core is. And people are like, I don't need to know that. You do. Because if you don't know the brand, the emotion that you're trying to, evoke with your branding, then you're not able to tell a real story that's going to be able to do it. Really, really important the one benefit of storytelling is you can hit on your emotions a lot, with a lot greater power. And of course, the other benefit of storytelling is you're not always done. As J.J. Abrams has proved, even when the first trilogy is done and the second trilogy is done, what we need? We need another trilogy. That's what we need. Let's get back out there and let's see if we can't, get a trilogy happening in here. And that's called keeping them coming back for more. Keep them on the train. So let's talk for a second, just briefly, about how storytelling affects us. And we're going to get psychological on you for a minute, but there is a process called neurocoupling. Neurocoupling, a story basically activates parts in the brain that allows the listener or the watcher to turn on the story in their own ideas and experience and map it to their own experience. That's called neurocoupling, right? We all do it. When you're watching Rocky and Rocky's getting hit, you're getting hit. Absolutely. Your brain does that through a process called mirroring. Story participants will not only experience the similar brain activity to each other, but they also can experience similar activity to, the main character that they're mirroring. More storytelling and brain effects going on. Dopamine. Dopamine is a magical little chemical that makes us feel great. I think we've talked about it in the past. And when you find a great deal, that little rush that you have, and you're like, oh man, I have this great deal, and I feel excited about it. That's dopamine. That's what it feels like, right? A lot of marketing tries to fire off your dopamine. That is the plan, because if we can do that, you're feeling great. It literally is a drug, and we are feeling you're feeling really great, and you'll do what the marketing wants you to do. Sorry, but so the brain releases dopamine into the system when it experiences an emotionally charged event. Now, here's what's interesting about dopamine. It makes it easier to remember the event with greater accuracy. And also in our cortex, when processing facts, 2 areas of the brain are activated. I won't get into that, the brain science stuff, but there's two areas that are activated. A well-told story can engage many additional areas, including the motor cortex, the sensory cortex, the frontal cortex. So if you're just doing facts, you're hitting these 2 areas, and that's great and good for you. But if you're telling a story, the whole brain's like lighting up like a firecracker. Boom, it's firing off, and that's really, really, really important to understand. When folks ask me, why is storytelling so important? Why is it so important? In all my clients, with all my clients, I have this thing called a message map, and at the end of it has storytelling topics. And they say, why is it so important to have these storytelling topics? Because we want the whole brain. We want the whole brain. We don't want to settle for just facts and figures, and we don't want to be relegated to just that. We want to try to engage people around the entire brain. And it's not easy, and nothing involving the human brain is easy. As if you're a regular listener to the show, you know that is the great unexplored country there. But it's worth doing. Storytelling is worth doing well. And right now, you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on InterTalk Radio, the undisputed leader on music biz talk. Come on back. We're going to talk about who's winning and who's losing this week in marketing. We'll see you in a few.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on InterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the InterTalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
STP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Tell me a story. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm still Scott. We are back with segment 2. But first, it's segment 1. Paul, what'd you think? So what was your big takeaway from segment 1, other than the napping? The nap.
that was the big one.
Paul just wants to nap. He's like, you know what? How do I get from here to the nap? Let's make it happen. Well, we're talking about, let's dig into winning and losing. That's what I say, man. Let's dig right into this thing. We got a lot going on this week. First off, winning, I got to say it. So the Cubs, wow. It was an amazing series, and huge congratulations to the Chicago Cubs, who, world champions, and they definitely earned it, and they definitely made all of us, talk about a story. I mean, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and but it was a very exciting World Series, and that Game 7 was just, man. We've seen some good Game 7s over the years, but including that one with the Cardinals and the Texas Rangers a few years back. But man, that was really, really impressive, I have to say. So I'm going to put them in the winning category. And I think one of the lessons for the Chicago Cubs, one of the things that we all can relate to about them, they said the whole country was really for Chicago, was the fact that, they're, an underdog. They were an underdog, for so long. And they never gave up. They never gave up, and there are lots of points in time, including in Game 7, where they really could have thrown it in and given up, and they didn't do it. And I think that we like stories like that. While we're talking about storytelling, that's a story that we all like, and it works. It works really, really well. So I was impressed. Like I said, as a Cardinals fan, I'm always kind of like it takes a lot of work for a Cardinals fan to root in any capacity for the Chicago Cubs, but I found myself rooting for them at the end too, and I was like, "What's the matter with you? Why are you rooting for the Cubs?" Gotta say,
I came across a meme on Reddit. Someone posted a clip from Back to the Future 2, where Marty goes to the year 2015 and the Cubs win the World Series there, and they were off by a year, but that's creepily close.
Off by a year, I know. What's so funny about that too is, when the time that movie came out, the Cubs were awful, obviously, and so that that's why they chose that, right? Because it's like so far out, it would have to be somewhere way in the future, because there's no chance that would have ever happened.
They pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, they nailed it. There was a kid from Mission Viejo High School or something that wrote it on his yearbook that he's like, the Cubs win the World Series in 2016. And he wrote it on his yearbook, like 20 years ago or something. And people are like, posting it on the. I was laughing. I was like, well, there you go.
Hoverboards are next.
Hoverboards. Let's talk about Halloween. Man, we spend a lot of money on Halloween. On the winning side of the ledger, anybody associated with Halloween is doing pretty well, because, man, total spending for Halloween this year, $8.4 billion with a B dollars. This is a $1.5 billion increase from 2015, according to the National Retail Federation's annual survey. So $8.4 billion. To put that in context, the music products industry, is around an $8 billion industry for all the amps, all the guitars, everything that's sold new, in the United States is about an $8 billion industry. And like Halloween candy and, creepy clown costumes are equal to all of the gear that everybody buys and plays music with. So just ruminate on that for a little while and realize, why am I in this business? Wait, I'm going to get in the Halloween candy business, apparently. That's the business to be in. But I'm going to put them in winning, because $8.5 or $8.4 billion, man, oh man, come on.
And that's $8.5 billion year round for musical instruments, and Halloween is just within a couple of weeks, I take it. Right?
I know. That's what's amazing. You know, so many people, I've never been a Halloween decorator, but some people, man, I mean, they go nuts. They go nuts. And I'm going, what's the matter with you? No, but you know, they love it.
That's really interesting, because I never do anything really for Halloween as far as spending money or costumes or anything like that. And this one year, I actually kind of went all out and, you know, spent a bunch of money on and got all dressed up, which I never ever do. So I guess I was caught in this wave and didn't even know it.
Dude, Paul is part of the $8.5 billion. They got your money too.
Yeah. I was the fairy godfather.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I was we played a gig and we had to show up in costumes.
Same thing here. That's why.
There you go. Musicians are always like, I got to show up in because you don't show up in costume and you're like
you're the odd man out.
The odd man. Yeah. Don't want to do that. I was the Flash, by the way. Nice. I was the Flash. It was cool. Yeah, I liked it. Then I was like, why am I wearing this? Anyway, $8.5 billion. Losing this week, Samsung. Oh, Samsung. Oh, Samsung. Washing machine recall. 720 of them have, wait for it, exploded. And now they're recalling more than 2.4 million units based on, 720 of them literally exploding. What is happening with you folks over at Samsung? What the hell is the matter with you over there that you can't make products anymore? I mean, is this just I'm very curious about what's going on over there, because it's not just the phone now, it's the washing machines. They make television sets, they make refrigerators. I was recently over at my father's place. He's got like a ridiculously expensive Samsung refrigerator. You don't want to get too close to it. You don't know what these things are capable of doing. And I just want to know, like many people, it's like, what's happening over there? What is the problem? And why can't you guys get it under control? As I mentioned before, I've never heard such negative branding in my life as when I went to the airport and then they had to wrestle people's Samsung phones out of people's hands at the gate and make Samsung people prove that their phones weren't the Galaxy Note 7. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I've never seen such negative branding. So if their brand survives this, it will be amazing. It will be amazing beyond amazing if they can survive, the Note thing, and now, of course, the thing with the washing machines. And all they need is like one more line of their products to start going south, and one more recall, and that's going to be it for that whole company, I think. Also losing, so we put them in losing category. Also losing, musicians. Musicians, you're losing out there. Apparently there's a new study that says that musicians are 3 times more likely to be depressed and or anxious. Now, before you get too excited, the study came from Help Musicians UK, which is a charity for UK musicians. So no offense, but it would be sort of in their best interests if people paid attention to problems that musicians were having, because they're a charity for musicians, right? Let's do just a quick PR, word of PR advice, right? When you do a study that's directly related to what you do, the data will immediately be called into question. So you better make sure it's rock solid. But it is an interesting story, since we're not talking about the PR aspect of it for a second. As reported by a few other online outlets, basically, in the UK, the findings suggest that, quote, working in the music industry might indeed be making musicians sick, according to the report. Reasons cited for respondents' depression include poor working conditions. Well, sure, yeah, there you go. Including the difficulty of sustaining a living. Yeah, absolutely. Antisocial working hours. Yep. Exhaustion and inability to plan their time and future. Okay. All right. And then there's the lack of recognition for one's work. And this is my favorite one. And the welding of the music and identity into one's own idea of selfhood. I play music, and, playing music in and of itself actually makes you feel better. I could show you the brain science. I worked at NAMM for a good long time, and we got volumes of data that proves that playing music itself the actual act of picking up my guitar right now neuropathically, improves my mood, right? Now, I get the fact that you're working on it, and if you're working in the industry and trying to be signed and the difficulties of the industry, then yeah, that's going to be frustrating. But you just want to be careful that people don't take this and go, oh, well, playing music's going to be bad for you. It's like, no, playing music is good for you. Pursuing a living in an industry that is highly competitive and has all those things, yeah, I could see it. Sure. It definitely could have those things. But, of course, again, the study does come from a charity that helps musicians, and wants to call attention to musicians' problems. And they're like, hey, a new study shows all these musicians' problems. We're like, well, yeah. I mean, that's like a dog food company going, dogs really need more dog food, said dog food manufacturer. It's like, yeah, you said that, So anyway, grain of salt on that one. But we're going to put musicians in the losing category. Here's what I'm going to say. Play your instruments. Enjoy it. If you're trying to make a living in a very tough business, understand that, yeah, you're opening yourself up. You've got the high risk, high reward thing going on. But there are plenty of people that have a really great time playing in the industry for a long time, have great careers. I know a lot of professional musicians that wouldn't do anything else. Honestly, that couldn't do anything else. And, and they do just fine. So, and plus there's always room for you probably in the music products industry where a lot of our, ex-performers and kind of journeyman musicians find their way into the gear side of things or the pro audio sound, side of things. That can be a great place as well. But anyway, for now, I guess we'll put musicians in the losing category. Man, talk about winning. Facebook. Just on pace to reach $27 billion in revenue this year. The profit is soaring, particularly with mobile ads, which always sort of makes me think of, you saw the movie The Social Network, and like it wasn't even Zuckerberg that was excited about advertising. And over again, they said, hey, as we build this platform and we monetize it, advertising is going to be the way that we continue to grow it and make revenue and that kind of thing. And Zuckerberg was like, no ads. We're not doing any ads. We're not doing any ads on Facebook. Well, it's a darn good thing that somebody got to Zuckerberg and talked to him about it, because $27 billion is nothing to sneeze at. And we're going to put Facebook in the winning category just because of that. Here's an interesting one. I saw this campaign, or really it's really just a poster that was thought up by a bar in the UK, and it got covered by Adweek and things like that. And basically, it's combating kind of sexual assault, and the poster says #NoMore, and it says saying no more to sexual violence and abuse in Lincolnshire. Now, what the woman is instructed to do, and this poster's hanging up in their restroom, and I think this is a genius idea. It shows that genius ideas don't just come from like think tanks and people out there, but they and companies and things like that. They can just come from a bar staff. Basically, they come up with this idea that's called "Hi, I'm Angela." So all you have to do is if you go to this bar and you ask for Angela, the bar staff will know that you need some help getting out of your situation, and they will call you a taxi, or they will help you get out discreetly without too much fuss. So if you're on a date that isn't working out, if they feel like they're not in a safe situation, if things are feeling weird, if they've here's the one that said, is your Tinder date not who they said they were on their profile? The problems of single people. I enjoy them. But if you go to this bar and you ask for Angela, the staff will help you get out. And I thought, man, that is clever and a discreet way of combating the problem, right? And so I thought it deserved a mention. It's a really cool. If you check out the story on Adweek and just search for, it's called "Ask for Angela" is the name of the campaign. But I think more bars should do the "Ask for Angela," except for the fact that I was thinking, if you actually had somebody working for Angela, you could really have a confusing situation there, because man, she's never going to get her messages. I mean, like, man, I've been asking for Angela for like weeks trying to get it, and I just keep getting escorted out to a taxi cab. It's like my friend Angela. So I think you need to make sure your asked for person doesn't actually work at the bar. That's what I would say. Losing Starbucks. So they rolled out their new cup design. Why do so many people care about Starbucks cups? I mean, it blows me away. It does. But so they came out with the cups, and the cups aren't red; they're green this year. And people say, "Oh, well, they're just trying to, they're just trying to make it less Christmas, than they did even last year," or that kind of thing. I don't get that. Green is Christmas. My Christmas tree is green. I'm pretty sure it's one of the signature colors of Christmas. And they're like, "Oh no, it needs to be red." Everybody's upset because the cups are green and not red. So Starbucks is losing because now they're in a fight about cups again, and deciding on social media some customers want their red cups back. It kind of reminds me a little bit. It's possible that Starbucks is just doing this so they can create a story, because then customers are like, "No, I want my red cup back. I'm going to go to Starbucks when they have red cups." And then they're able to create a sensation when, magically they have red cups. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just going to say, we'll put them in the losing category because they're battling this thing right now. But man, it's goofy. Also in the losing category, all of us. I'm going to say all of us, because Amazon is trying to kill Black Friday. They're trying to destroy our dopamine dose by rolling out a month-long or 2-month-long Black Friday sales site, which was unveiled this week, Tuesday, November 1st. And the deals last until Thursday, December 22nd, for a grand total of 52 days of Christmas and Thanksgiving and whatever you want to call it. And they really, we love Black Friday. We love getting that deal. We love getting that rush of dopamine, thinking that we're going to get a deal. Retailers know it. They create their doorbuster kind of things, and you come in there and you're there at 4:00 in the morning, figuring it out. But the bottom line is, why are you trying to hurt us, Amazon? Seriously, why are you putting this stuff up there early? And the answer is profit, money, running an effective business. That's who's winning and losing this week on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back for segment 3. I'm going to give you some tips for better storytelling coming up. See you in a few.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Girls are talking rock again.
And people are listening.
Today we're talking bands.
Let's talk promotion. Red Giant Promo, graphics, EPKs, video, photos, social media, and brand building using content marketing.
But let's talk studio at CCMA, which is events, rehearsal, tour prep, piano, guitar, voice, rock band, lessons, workshops, and clinics. Yeah!
Both proud sponsors of Girls Talk Rock.
Well, get the lowdown on these services and contact me, Tracy, at girlstalkrock.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, happy Friday. Once again, you are still tuned to May the Best Brand Win right here on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm still Scott, here in segment 3. With me on the air is Paul. Paul, did you enjoy the winning and losing this week? What'd you like?
Psst, Angela, I need to speak to Angela.
Yeah.
The Scott person, he's a Cleveland fan. I can't be here. I'm sorry.
Creepy. Scott's creepy. Ask for Angela. It's going to be a new thing.
Yeah, lots of weird stories got me thinking. The Starbucks one is, I just can't imagine people winding themselves up enough to care about something like that. I think Starbucks should just make white cups and be like, until everybody learns to behave, nobody gets any colors ever.
They're like, why don't you just drink your coffee and shut up about it?
Or put them into those like New York style Greek looking cups.
Oh man!
And the other,
wait! I got it. They should all be like reflective mirror cups.
Oh, so you only see your own imperfections.
You only see your own imperfections.
Oh, that's genius.
See, Starbucks should hire me.
Then people are going to be driving with it. The sun is going to reflect into someone's eye. They're going to crash a car, and it's going to be another Samsung situation.
That's right. Starbucks mirrored cups cause wreck on the 405 freeway. Well, I would just say that if I was corporate communications director of Starbucks, I'd be like, we decided to do mirror cups this Christmas because then you can look at your favorite subject in the world, yourself.
There you go.
And think about how great you are and how wonderful it is for you to be drinking our beverage, and then just keep... just keep looking at the mirror. You never get tired of the subject matter.
Just wear a nice Christmas sweater, red and green, whatever you want, and bring your own Christmas spirit.
Bring your own Christmas spirit to Starbucks with the new mirrored cups. See, that's genius. They're going to steal that, and I'm going to be like, I said that first on May the Best Brand Win. Well, fun. Let's get back into storytelling. So, on this episode, we've been talking about storytelling, and we know that it's good and it's important, and we know that it works on us, and we know that it will work, done correctly, it's going to work on the customer. We know that we're going to use it to engage and hook and motivate and persuade and do all those awesome action verbs that are in the marketing lexicon that we love so much. We know that we need some good things for our story. We need to have a main character, hopefully our brand. We need to show a conflict, something, that the hero's journey, sort of resolves. We need to have that resolution. And then we need to show that it ended in sort of a good way for everybody. And then we take everybody through sort of the ride of their lifetime, on the, with their mind. With the chemicals in their brains. So, I did want to say that just a couple of things about story that are important. We consume this many digital words every day, according to latest research. Digital words are consumed by the average U.S. citizen every day at 100,500 words a day. Okay? That's a lot. So we want to keep it short, right? Good title, scannable, right? Don't want to add to the 100,000 words, whatever. Now, according to research, 92% of consumers want brands to make ads and marketing that feels like a story. So, again, with advertising, you certainly have all the control in the world, and you can write your own story, and you can make it about that story and deliver. When it gets into things like public relations and social media and content marketing, you still have some control over, but you won't always have perfect control in those in public relations and things like that. But the idea is to deliver content that's sort of linear and expresses a clear narrative. Here's an interesting fact that the brain processes images when compared to words 60 times faster. So that's why it's important here in lovely 2016 to show and not tell as much. Use your images, for more compelling content. And we're very much, in that as it comes to marketing, it's very important to show things. So with that said, I want to give you a few tips and leave you with those happy tips. So, number one, you want to know your brand's emotional core. If your brand is about love, self-love, ego, those kind of things, really, the Apple brand is really about self-love and ego, because their tagline uses the personal pronoun you twice. You're more powerful than you think. It's all about you, right? We've talked about why that's such a good tagline, because what are people most interested in the entire big, wide, fuzzy world? Yeah, they're most interested in themselves, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And some people reject that and they say, well, not me, and that's an uncomfortable idea for them. And they're like, well, I think people are better than that, and I think people are selfless. You're lying to yourself, and you honestly need to wake up. It would be my advice. You need to check out the neuroscience on it. You need to, understand that human biology and neuroscience, our brains and our bodies and everything, we have this survival instinct. The survival instinct is very powerful in human beings. It allows us to, survive. And it also allows us, it has this sort of side effect, which sort of makes everything about us, sort of more important, ourselves. We take in content, that affects us most directly with, a greater amount of importance, relevance, significance, that kind of thing. So when I say that people are most fundamentally interested in themselves, they are. You are. I am. Everybody is. It's not really a choice, is a good way to say it. And I think that kind of relieves us from some of the moral complications that brings with it. Because some people say, well, I just can't, what about all the charity work that I do? Well, you do that to feel good, and that kind of thing. And that also feeds the same kind of thing. We could have a whole show about the psychology of, self-centric versus other-centric. But you should probably trust me in the sense that, the vast majority of human beings, really all human beings, are most interested in themselves. And that's why Apple's brand works so well. 2 personal pronouns of you in it, not just one, right? And they set up their products and their stuff as the hero of the story. And the story is, you're more powerful than you think. Look at what you can do with our stuff. You did this. Aren't you great? Yay for you. And look what you did with our stuff. And then they always, with our stuff, with our technology, with our stuff, which doesn't explode, by the way, look at our stuff. All of your story comes from the emotional core. If your brand is about trust, then all of your story should be leading to a point where the emotional ride that you're taking people on helps them experience trust. If your brand is about surprise, then all of your brand should be helping them feel that surprise. If your brand is about love and ego and self-love, ego, that kind of thing, then your brand, the emotional ride on your story should bring them to that, bring them to that place. And all of your stuff, all of those quote-unquote touch points that we talk about should be driving towards what is that brand story? What is that story? There are a lot of companies in the music products industry. Fender Guitars is a great example. Fender, when they just moved their headquarters, they moved the company headquarters to Los Angeles recently, to Sunset Boulevard, actually. Kind of right where CBS Television City, area. That kind of area where that was. So now Fender tells a powerful emotional story about how they have always made guitars in Southern California. Now we know sort of cognitively that their headquarters was in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, for a good long time, right? But they're able to come back and tell, if you look at their messaging, what Fender's done around that, they basically have said, look, our heart has always been, I think they even use that word, our heart has always been in Southern California, where we believe sort of the core of the music industry is, right? This is important, story-wise, because, their competitor, their heart is somewhere else. It's not in Southern California. It's in Nashville, Tennessee, as it turns out. So, it actually is strategic, for them to build this story around Southern California and sort of own Southern California. They're actually not the biggest music manufacturer in Southern California because Yamaha's here. You know what I mean? So, but they did a good job with the story. And it's really, really important to know that emotional core. Number 2 tip, don't be afraid to tell your stories that have, challenges in them. Even stories where you're not successful the first time. Remember, the hero in a good story always faces a big challenge. And we're right there with the hero. Every superhero movie you've ever seen, the hero fights in the first act, and they're probably not successful. Or maybe they're a little bit successful, but then the villain comes back in some big way and really stomps on them. And then Act 3 is always about, okay, so we've faced that challenge down. Now, how do we rise to this next big challenge? And that's how you take people on that sort of dopamine roller coaster that you want to take them on. And we talked about the neural coupling and that kind of thing. That's where that stuff happens and where that catharsis happens. It happens around that. But if you don't have the big challenges, then your story gets kind of, boring. We like a big challenge. That's a good thing. It's very exciting. So, tip number 3. You want to keep them on the story carousel with you. Around and around we go. If we're Jeep, a great example. They tell one story about the product being a hero. Great, we were going to promote that one. Okay, here's another story coming in. And look at there. Wouldn't you know it if Jeep isn't the hero of that story too? Apple, they're the hero of that story too. Guitar companies do that as well. Which is actually sort of why they do so many artist endorsements. Because your favorite artists can't make music unless they have instruments, and why not tag on a little bit of that excitement that you have for their performance and that why not get excited about Eddie Van Halen's latest performance, but then be able to sort of emotionally tie it to the fact of this EVH guitar brand from Fender that he's playing, that sort of thing. So again, it's really important to keep people on the story carousel with you, around and around and around and around we go. And that's what kind of the sales funnel looks like these days, in marketing, is that it's not just, you spit people out at the bottom of the sales funnel and go, okay, it's been real, and now we're on our way to something else. The best thing that you want to do is not kind of spit them out at the end, but kind of have a funnel that leads them back into, well, what's the next story, and what's their story? Again, they're going to be really excited about your story and everything, but let's be honest, they're going to be way more excited about their story with your stuff. That's what they're going to get excited. By the way, if I see one mistake made over and over in marketing, it's that companies just can't get out of their own way of talking about themselves, and they just can't make it about the customer for some reason, which I never understand that. When companies come to me and they say, "Oh, our marketing is just not working," and I look at the marketing and I'm like, so you have all kinds of sentences, but you haven't brought the customer into the story at all. This is like this is great. Your mom probably digs this because it's all about you. But since you're not selling to mom, you might want to consider making it about the customer. And people say, oh, that's so obvious. Everybody does that. They don't. They don't do that. I can't explain it. I think you should. Write it down. Put it on a friggin' Post-it note. You absolutely should. It absolutely works. It is not. I'm not the first one to suggest it, nor will I be the last. But if you can make your marketing about them and back off of you on that, then it's going to be infinitely more successful. And it's not obvious to some people. I'm not certain why, but just saying. Tip number 4. We want to evoke curiosity with our stories. You know, we absolutely want our storytelling to make people curious about what's going to happen next. The best stories evoke curiosity. You know, I'll just go back to the Star Wars. You know, they drop hints early on, and I'll just do the first trilogy. You know, there are hints that are dropped all along the fact that, you know, here you have this country boy, you know, Luke Skywalker, you know, but maybe he's not as ordinary as you think he is, as we think he is. And we start to discover that there's nothing ordinary about this kid. And later we discover that his entire life has been a lead up to an act of war, you know, with the current establishment, and that he is sort of this chosen one that has sort of been a chosen one in hiding kind of thing. But being able, you know, Lucas does a great job, and Abrams does I mean, there are not many storytellers, you know, working in film today that are as good as J.J. Abrams. He is masterful at storytelling. But Lucas was good too, obviously, because, you know, we were curious about that story. We want to know, who are these people? What is their connection with this, you know, and why is it important for us? The last tip I'm going to leave you with is make sure that your stories align with your own call to action and purpose. It does no good. You know, we're not out there just telling stories for story's sake. When we're talking about storytelling, you know, this social and culture activity of sharing stories with improvisation, theatrics, all that kind of stuff that we talked about at the top, that's great. But we want to align with our call to action and our purpose always, because there's a marketing solution at the end of this rainbow. That's absolutely what we're going for always. And you always want to make sure that you are looking at the stories that you're creating for your company and saying, do these do what we need them to do. And if they don't, then you kind of know what you need to do. You need to work on some better stories. You need to gather some better stories. You need to make, create better stories. You know, Once Upon a Time is a powerful beginning. You know, your marketing can be so fantastic with the power of story. But, do it the right way. Learn from the masters who do storytelling so well, and just figure out a way to make your customers the star and your brand the hero of your stories. And you're going to do great storytelling work out there. That's it for me. Until next week, this has been May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you next week. Have a great one. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?